What's up, everybody? It's Pikel with League of Items, and we are going to take a look at the LCK in this video. I've already made my videos for the LCS and for the LEC. We saw the Kespa Cup, and that can help inform us what we think is going to happen in the LCK season, but it's not predictive really at all. The game is going to change probably by the point we get into like these serious matches that determine the year. The crazy thing about Korean teams right now is that there are a ton of players on all these teams. I'm going to know a decent chunk of them, but not all of them. But that's okay. As time goes on, I'll learn more. Keen was around last year. We're going to start with the Freak of Freaks, and I'm going to put it into a tier list at the end of it. So Trap, I have no idea who Trap is. Dread is an okay player, not a great player. Fly and Keen are both decent players, but again, not great players. I would expect Bang and Lahens to have a pretty good year. So a Freak of Freaks is the kind of team that did a poor job in the group stage of the Kespa Cup, but I think that's a good thing for us in DraftKings. Like, this is going to be the kind of team that I try to play a decent amount of. Bang is a good DraftKings player, especially when they're in the LCK, because the play style of teams with Bang generally are all about Bang. I think Bang and Lahens will be just about as good as Viper Lahens. Maybe a little worse, but overall I think good enough. The question then really becomes, Keen's a good player. Dread, I'm not a huge fan. And then Fly and Keeny, we'll see who ends up actually playing more of their matches in the regular season. Not super excited about this team. LCK, a Freak of Freaks, as good as Bang. As good as Bang. So I think their season is really going to come down to like Bang and Lahens. Like, how good are they compared to the other lanes, the other bot lanes, and do they have a chance to carry matches? Because this might not be a good meta for them, with like the new mythic items and everything. Not really sure, but that's enough of that. Dom1 Gaming, obviously they won the World Championship, and they are going to be in the finals of the Kespa Cup. That's happening soon. I think it happens tomorrow. Doesn't really matter, but yeah, they're still amazing. I think Khan and Nagri are the downgrade from Nagri to Khan is much smaller than most people think that it is. Still one of the best teams in the world. That's it. That you don't need to go any further than that. It's very simple. DRX. Anyone who is in my Discord knows exactly how I feel about DRX. I hate DRX. I think it's inexcusable to let Chovy and Keria leave. It's just insane to me. Like, their roster was set up to be one of the best rosters for the next like 5 years in the world. So either those players have no trust in the organization, or the organization doesn't know what they're doing. I don't speak or read Korean, so even I wouldn't even be able to like check news sites and see what's actually going on, even if I was paying close attention for the past month or two. But it's just inexcusable to me. Piosik is a good player. I like Piosik, but Piosik is probably not as good as they looked last year when they had Chovy, Deft, Keria on their roster. So it's a really tough spot. I'm going to be very negative towards DRX probably for most of the year. So this is another good time to take notes, because you should not listen to me when I talk about DRX. It's just going to be overly negative, and I honestly can't help myself. So for my notes, I'm going to put fuck DRX, because fuck them. I honestly can't have any opinion other than that. So that's where I'm at right now. Fredit Brion. Okay. Hoya. I think they were on a team last year, but I don't think they're like an amazing player. Chieftain was on Vici Gaming, I think, last year in the LPL. So it depends on what you think of the relative strength of those leagues. Chieftain wasn't really the kind of jungler that I liked playing last year, though. So not a benefit, in my opinion, to have that kind of player on your team. Lava was on Hanwha Life last year. They would go between Lava and another mid laner that wasn't very good, so that's not a good sign. I think Lava was the one who played better overall, though. Henna or Hina, no idea. Crescent, no idea. Fred at Brion, huge question mark. I know nothing about them. They went 1-3 in the Kespa Cup, but I'm not going to put too much weight into that. I have no idea, so this is just going to be question marks for me. I need to see them actually play. I honestly didn't watch them play. Next up, we have Gen G. So what did Gen G do? Rascal, still an okay player. Clid, still a good player. BDD, still a good player. Ruler and Life, still good players. So Gen G is going to be good. So without looking at anything else, I would say top 4 team. We'll see what they look like relative to everyone else. Gen G went 2-2. I'm not sure if they used their entire roster, though. I think that's one of the teams I remembered was not doing that. Okay, now we're looking at Hanwha Life. So Hanwha Life is going to be pretty interesting. We have Morgan and Dudu. I expect Morgan to overtake Dudu there. Hanwha Life went 2-2. They ended up finishing 3rd, I think. 3rd or 4th. In the Kespa Cup. I like Morgan a lot. Arthur, Cad, Johan. I don't know who's going to start. I don't really care who's going to start. You have Chovy. Chovy's one of the best mid laners in the league. Deft had a bad end of the year last year. Even at Worlds, didn't really perform very well. Nothing I can really say about that other than Keria was a very good player and may have even been held back by Deft. But the fact that Chovy and Deft still want to play with one another is very good. Vista might be the other mid laner I was talking about. Did Vista change roles? Actually, no, it was Lava and Miru, I think. But never mind. Doesn't matter. You have Chovy, you have Morgan, you have Deft. I'm going to like your chances. I'm going to assume they're a top 4 team. Without seeing anything else. So let's just keep moving on. And then I'll kind of go back through and give my final takes, I guess. All right. KT Rolster. Doran switched teams. Right? Yes. They were from DRX, okay. Blank was on T1 for a while, right? Bonnie, Gideon. Don't really have any good opinions about any of them. Dove. Yukal's an okay player. Vikla, I have no idea. That name does sound familiar, though. Hybrid was okay last year, but is not a great player. Noah, don't know. Rebel. Zeus. I don't know these players. And in a league like Korea, this is probably a situation where a lot of teams are just like, we're not going to beat these teams anyway, so let's just have some young players that don't cost a lot of money and give them experience. So, question marks. I honestly could not tell you how they're going to be this year. Interesting. Okay, so now we have Sandbox, the fighting Yamato cannons. Yamato's gone, shocking. Summit is a good player. Sandbox went 2-2. Summit is a good player. Kroko and On Fleek, I'm not sure which one is playing. Okay, On Fleek is inactive, so I'm guessing it's Kroko. Kroko had some good games in that tournament, and is a carry player, apparently. So that is a good thing to watch out for. Fate had a good end of the year last year. I would assume Root is the one that's playing. Root and Leo. I'm not sure who's going to be playing. Effort is a good support player coming from T1. So that's always a good thing when you get a player from a good team like that. It's going to give the rest of your roster like some of those intangibles, hopefully. Like hopefully the good coaching from T1 kind of comes over with effort. But not really sure. So I mean it's an okay team. Some good players survived Yamato Cannon, which is always a good sign. Probably mid to low. All right, next up, Nongshim Red Force. Nongshim is like the ramen company. All right, so Nongshim was Team Dynamics. Okay, Rich, pretty good player. They got Peanut. I love Peanut. Bay. Don't know Bay. From Griffin. Don't know Bay. They went 3-1. Not surprising because Peanut is a very good player. Deokdom had an okay year last year. I'm not sure who's playing between him and Wayne. Kellen is like probably a league average support player. Nongshim, this is the type of team where I hope I can use them in DraftKings early on because I love Peanut. So I'm going to put down I love Peanut. Probably too much. This might be the kind of team where I just get obsessed with them and like continuously play them even if I'm losing money. Like Mickey from last year or Viper and Lahens from last year. So I understand that that's a hole in my game, but I'm only human. All right, and then we have T1. Kana, very good player. Cousin Elim, both pretty good players. Hopefully one of them eventually just overtakes the other one and we don't have to even think about which one's playing. Closer and Faker, both very good players. I think that Closer is the future, but Faker probably will still play more than... it'll still be like confusing, and they can swap between them, so it's a question mark for a lot of DFS stuff. Teddy, very, very, very good AD carry. Keria, very, very, very good support. Teddy and Keria might be the best bot lane in the LCK right now. That's because of my opinion of Keria, mostly. They'll be more volatile. They'll win matchups harder. I like T1 a lot, but I'm also a T1 fan, so again, maybe I'm just biased. Keria, big upgrade. That's honestly my only opinion about this team, so I expect them to compete for the top of the table. So, we have Damwon. Damwon's very good. We have the tier below them. I'm going to put Hanwha Life. I'm going to put Gen G. T1. I want Nongshim to be up there, but I probably can't put them up there, really. A Freak of Freaks, I'll put down there. I'll leave DRX in a tier by themselves, because fuck DRX. KT Rolster, I have no idea. So question marks go there. Fred at Breon goes there. Sandbox goes there. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, so I have all 10 teams in the tier list. And this is roughly what I think will happen this year in the LCK. So Damwon, going into the season, definitely the best team. The odds-on favorite to win the league, I'm sure, when the sportsbooks release it. I haven't looked for it yet. T1, Hanwha Life, and Gen G, all very interesting teams. Still have very strong players and can probably end up competing with Damwon in one way or another. I think the most likely challenger is T1. People are probably annoyed by T1 from last year. They didn't really play that well. And the whole thing that happened over the offseason with LS, it made me change my opinion of T1 a decent amount, but I love Keria. I think Keria is one of the stars of the league for the next few years. So hopefully that is is true. And ultimately, LS and T1 kind of resolved everything. So if LS is fine with it, I'm fine with it. I'm not a huge like LS supporter in general. I just think that the situation itself was insane and was really unprofessional by T1. And I don't want to see anybody get screwed over like he almost was. Nongshim, I love Peanut. So these are the 5 teams that I will probably pick if they're matched up against any of these teams. Afrika Freaks, KT Rolster, Frederick Brion, Live Sandbox. I don't know which one it is. And then DRX dead last. Hopefully they don't win a match or a game the entire year. If they win killless for the entire year, that's good in my book. Let's stop this video here. There's only so much I can do as someone who has a full-time job. But the LCK is a pretty static league year over year. The same teams are generally good. The good teams buy the good teams buy the good players from bad teams. So it's all consolidated towards the top. There's only a handful of organizations that really want to compete for titles and all that kind of stuff. It's really just a money-making machine and like an advertising thing really for a lot of these big corporations in Korea. But that's fine. I'm not criticizing them. It's just that's the reality of the situation. And thanks for watching. And I'll talk to you later. Next up, LPL.